Welcome to the channel, welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Ash and today we're going to talk about season 1 of the L Word Generation Q. To start off with, I just want to say I am so glad that the show came back. I've said this a few times now, but been thinking about it over the past few days, and the fact that it came back, a lot of the original actresses came back, you know, it's come back very strong. Sequels or reboots, they generally don't do amazing, and I mean, a few people have their little issues here and there, but for the most part the feedback has been amazing. Also, we only did get 8 episodes, so they did cram a lot into those 8 episodes. I feel like we're just getting started. I'm so glad we're getting season 2, and it's going to be a little bit longer, being 10 episodes. But also the fact that a show has come back that has a primarily female cast, that pretty much every show nowadays, and this is even true in the movie industry, the female characters are someone's girlfriend or someone's sister or mother or daughter. There's normally a male protagonist or male figure that is the lead, and the female characters are attached to these male characters in some way. There obviously was stuff like Sex and the City, but for the most part, I really can't off the top of my head think of a lot of shows where there is the strong female leads and the characters are people that you want to emulate, that you want to be like. We did have Orange is the New Black for a while, but that's a little bit in the grey area, being that it's set in a prison and all the women were convicted felons. Grey's Anatomy is a good example, as we have Ellen Pompey, who I really love Grey's Anatomy. I especially loved when Callie and Arizona were on it. It's a show, I've watched the show since I was 17 years old and it's still on TV now. Meredith Grey has always been the lead, and there have been so many male co-stars, and I don't want to say too much just in case some people aren't caught up on Grey's, but Meredith is absolutely the central figure of that show. But there are a lot of, well, there's a lot of other characters, point blank, but there's a lot of other male characters, and it is based mostly around relationships, obviously, as well as the medical side of things. But overall, it's about Meredith's life. I really struggle to think of some other shows that just have that strong core female group. And as Jennifer Beals and a lot of the actresses have said, when the L Word originally went off the airwaves, they thought something else would come in and replace it, and just nothing did. So I will always say I'm just so grateful that the show has come back, and also that, you know, the 3 later 4 leads came back so strongly, like coming back as producers, taking on that extra work, really caring about their characters and how they come across, and I just think all that's fantastic. So first thing I wanted to get out of the way, I'm just so glad the show is back, and I cannot believe how long we have to wait until we get the 2nd season. I know the writers did go back, I think last week was their first week back, so they're obviously writing it now, but there's a lot to be done before it comes on the screen again. I'm gonna do what I usually do and go through each character, kind of what happened to them this season, things I liked, didn't like about it, and also if I have any hopes for season 2 for the characters. I'm gonna start with one of the newer characters, Finley. Right off the bat, in the first episode, I really liked this character. She's kind of that fun, friendly, like happy person that reminds me of some people I know. I loved when she was riding the bike and she did the like time's up thing, and they used that a lot in the commercial, but I really enjoyed that scene. Finley, we got to know her on kind of a surface level. We knew that she came from a religious background, that we knew she had some issues with alcohol and all these things, but they didn't really dive too deep into anything about her. So next season, I'm really hoping that we get some sort of backstory I remember also reading on like the character descriptions that she was an Olympic swimmer, so some backstory on that would also be really good too, about her family and everything like that. So I think that's going to be a pattern that I'm going to say. I hope that we get a lot more background on everyone. Micah, I don't have too much to say because the first episode they were all together. Like Micah obviously lives with Danny and Sophie, and Micah was part of the group, but as the episodes went on, they interweaved the newer people like Danny with Bet and Sophie with Alice and Finley with Shane, and they were all kind of grouped together, and then Micah and Jose were kind of off by themselves. It is great that we're having representation on screen, but they have to do something more with Micah. I feel as though they've like checked that box, but they haven't really given his character much to do. The Jose thing kind of opened up a can of worms. Hopefully that gets explored a bit more, because by the end of the season I was feeling as though Micah was getting as much screen time as the priest and Tess and Lena, and he's supposed to be a lead, so they need to definitely get Micah incorporated into the group a little bit more, instead of just having the group and all the storylines being interwoven and just Micah's by himself with Jose. So getting Micah a bit more on board with everyone would be good for the future. Sophie, honestly, I've watched all the episodes a few times, especially 6, 7, 8, doing the reviews, but Sophie, I think out of the new characters, is my least favorite. I don't know exactly, I can't pin it down what it is I don't really like about. I'm not saying I dislike her, but she's just my least favorite out of the new ones. There's not really anything I look at her and I think, oh, I really like that about her. Like, she seems to do okay at her job, but she doesn't seem as maybe devoted as like Danny is to her job. It doesn't sit very well with me that she's cheated on Danny, and the whole Finley thing. I think Sophie and Finley actually would be better together, but I just don't like that she's cheated on Danny, and she kind of, Finley called her out on that whenever she told Danny not to come to the hospital, and then Danny didn't. It's like, you have to ask what you want. I feel like she kind of throws stones and hides her hands. It's like she's looking for things sometimes to pick apart with Danny, when Danny's obviously trying and all these things. Like when in the first episode when they were getting engaged, it was all on Danny. Like Sophie kept saying like, when are you gonna propose to me, and all the things. Like she's always picking and trying to find something wrong with the situation. So I just would like to see her be a bit more clear about what she wants, and not kind of, I feel like she does a lot of complaining as well. Like she complains about Danny, she complains about this and the job and the guy, and so I'd like to see her be a bit more like upfront about what she wants and her feelings, and also stop the cheating thing. Like tell Danny what's going on. Speaking of Danny is probably my favorite out of the new cast members, just because I think that she's kind of like another version of Bet, and Bet is my favorite character, hands down. Danny also has that, her career is very important to her, and that's something that's very important to me. So I really liked Danny and Bet's, all their scenes together were great. I really think that Ariana and Jennifer Beals had good chemistry on screen together. I know a lot of people want them to get together. I don't want that to happen. I think that they're definitely better as kind of a mentor-mentee relationship, but yeah, there's a lot of people that want them to get together. I would rather they continue this kind of business mentor relationship. Danny, I feel when she finds out about this Sophie Finley thing, whether it's right away or whether it's a few episodes down the road, I feel like she's gonna tailspin, and it's gonna be kind of that in the beginning of season 2 of the original L Word, where she just like went off the rails a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to our original characters, Shane. I really liked Shane and Kiara together. up until the last episode. I mean, I did have an issue that Kiara had got pregnant and then just shown up. And then in the last episode, I had a major issue that Kiara just kind of told Shane that she should have been upfront about it when Shane was upfront about it. I really like the actress and everything that played Kiara, but the last episode just showed me like they definitely should not be together. They want completely different things. Shane, I feel like she's gonna work on herself, really throw herself into the bar and things. And I really do like Tess as well. I think that her and Shane could have like a cool relationship, as obviously Tess is like the manager of the bar. And I'd like to see more of Tess next season too. I am also so glad that Shane picked up that dog at the end of the episode. So hopefully that she has a great relationship with the dog. Also, the scenes where Shane's with Angie, I think, are some of the best scenes for Shane during the season. I mean, we did have the first episode where she sleeps with the air hostess. Like, that was a bit of the old Shane coming out. I think that overall she's grown and matured as a person, so that was nice to see. The one thing I really did like is when Shane bought the bar that she called it Dana's. I thought that was a really nice touch. And also Bet and Shane had some really nice scenes. Like I said that Angie and her did too, but Shane and Bet, I always think that their friendship is really, really strong and they seem to understand each other. I mean, I have friends like this who, especially that you've been friends with for a really long time, and to the outside world, people looking at you would be like, how are those two friends? And sometimes those are the best relationships, where you are completely different people, but you just know each other so well. And that was evident in the fact that, you know, Shane knew a lot more than Alice did in episode 6, where they go to Bet's house. Like, Shane admits that she knew that Bet was still with Felicity, and like Bet didn't have to tell her, she just knew from the breakfast scene the previous episode. And then Shane and Bet also have another nice scene, I think it's episode 3 or 4, where they're in the bar talking and Bet saying like, oh, I still don't feel normal even after like Tina and I have been split up for a while. The best I can hope for Shane is that her and her dog are very happy together next season, but I'd really like her to find, you know, someone who wants the same thing she wants. I know a lot of people want Carmen to come back. I do love Carmen. I like the actress a lot too. But the writers have been pretty matter of fact that Carmen will not be coming back. I believe Marja, the showrunner, she said that the reason that they wouldn't have Carmen back is because Sarah Shani, who plays Carmen, is of Persian descent. So she's not a strong representation for the Latin community. So that's why they wouldn't have her back on the show, which, I mean, fair enough, but I know a lot of people do want her back. Alice has always been one of my favorite characters. I just was so happy when we came back to Alice and she had her own show, and even like the little quip about like, oh, doesn't it feel like we've been on hiatus for 10 years? I love that Alice is, you know, doing so well and has this her own show. And whenever we saw her in the first episode and she was kind of killing it with getting the kids sorted and, you know, her relationship and everything. And obviously one of the best scenes of the season is thanks to Alice, Gigi and Nat, the throuple scene. But overall, I just really hope it works out with Nat. Like, Alice deserves some happily ever after. She always got screwed. I mean, the whole Dana thing, and then Tasha and her obviously didn't work out. So just let Alice be happy. I mean, she's really nailed the career side. She's a great friend. So let's have Alice like have her happily ever after. And I really was surprised when Nat showed up at the end. I think that shows that Nat is willing to fight for Alice and she's totally committed. And maybe that whole throuple thing was the catalyst that Nat needed to realize, oh my god, I don't want to lose this person because they're everything to me. So I really hope that Alice and Nat continue on next season and, you know, things aren't too awkward with Gigi. Oh, Bet, my love. So Bet had a roller coaster of a season. She obviously had the whole mayor race, and did we want her to win? Of course, but would it have made the most sense? Probably not, because I think, as the writers have said, the show isn't the West Wing. It's not a political show, so we couldn't really have Bet win. I mean, when she opened that door and Tina was there, it broke the internet. Like, it was crazy. There was so, like, everybody was flipping out, message boards, the internet, like, it was crazy. It was one of those genuine surprises. Like, how often do you get that anymore in the media with TV shows and films? Not very often. So really hats off to the writers, the people on the show, everyone, for keeping that secret for so long, like, because they filmed this in the summer. So really good job keeping it a secret and no one knowing. Bet, I mean, I've discussed this many times on the channel, but I really have a hard time with the fact that we went through so much with Bet and Tina, especially season 5 and 6. They worked on their relationship so hard, and their divorce, like, it was so disappointing to me, so disappointing. I just really don't want this to be the end. I just have a hard time with believing it. I know that it's happened, it's in front of my eyes. If this was pilot Bet and Tina, yes, totally. But their relationship was totally different by the end of season 6. So number one is, I want to know what happened over these past 10 years, because what happened to the kid they were gonna get? I also can't believe that Tina just, like, didn't go to Kit's funeral, fell in love with someone else, and peaced out and left Angie and Bet in California. I find that so strange, but hopefully we're gonna get more next season. They didn't know about Laurel Holloman's availability or whatever. Jennifer Beals has said that she's, gonna try and get as much of Laurel Holloman's time as possible. So I'm really trusting Jennifer Beals, because she's a producer on the show now, and she has been one that always believed in the whole Bet and Tina thing. Of course, I would love to see Bet with someone like the reporter that she was with at the end, going on the date with. I mean, Bet just needs some happiness. If Bet fucking Porter can't be happy, can any of us be happy? She is freaking amazing. So please, obviously number one request would be for her and Tina to finally just sort shit out and get back together and not have this bloody Tina finding herself. I don't know how I feel too much about if they literally came out and said Bet and Tina are never going to get back together. It then is hard to see them on screen together. We all know that Tina, the second that she sees Bet with someone else, that's when she realizes what she's missing out on. So maybe she sees Bet with Maya and it's like, Carrie who, bye, peace. But I also think it will be really interesting to see who this Carrie person is. I really want them to do it someone who's completely the opposite of Bet. I think that would be way more interesting than having just like someone very similar to Bet. But overall, excited to see what Bet's gonna do also career-wise next season, because I mean, we've seen her at the CAC, we've seen her Dean of the Art School, we've seen her running for mayor. What is she gonna do next? So that'll be interesting too. Tagging on to Bet and Tina, also interested to see how Angie and Jordy get along. I think it's great that they have like a young couple on the show coming out, first relationship. I think that's really great. Overall, I really don't have too many grievances with the show, apart from the fact that we have to wait far too long for new episodes, and we don't get a huge amount of episodes in the first place with only 8 episodes. One of the things I'd really like is some more kind of background on the new people, and also background on the last 10 years of the cast that we had in the original, because there does seem to be some missing key information. There are some things like the Bet and Tina things that don't kind of line up with the way the characters developed in the original show. So I mean, they're kind of little issues. I would like to, obviously we found out what happened with Jenny finally after 10 years. We found out what happened to Kit, but I'd also like to know, like, where's Helena? Well, I know they showed those text messages on Shane's birthday, but we didn't get any information on that. Where's Helena? What happened with Alice and Tasha? Does Shane still see Shay? There are some other things, and obviously they could only fit so much in 8 episodes, but I'd really be interested to get some more perspective on what's been going on in the past 10 years. And I'd really love if they did a flashback episode. I think that would be really cool to go back and see what happened when Bette and Tina got married, when Shane and Kiara got married, how Shane and Kiara, I know they told us the story about how they met, but you know, it's a long way from meeting to marriage to divorce. And even how did Alice meet Nat? All that stuff would be really interesting to see. So hopefully they can do some of that in season 2. I mean, hopefully we get some more seasons so we can get all these things answered. Overall, I've said it before in my review videos, I'm just so happy that the show's back. I'm so happy that we have the cast we have. It's just so fantastic. I honestly couldn't be more positive about it, and just would love to put into the world like the gratitude and thanks from myself, and I'm sure most of the community. Let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, what you would like to see in season 2, what's your favorite thing about season 1. Put them in the comments down below. And this is the last call to enter to win the Bette Porter 2020 t-shirt or the List of Rainbow Name Cast t-shirt. I will be doing the draw this Saturday, the 15th of February, and I'll post the winner's name in my community tab, and so they can contact me and tell me what t-shirt they want and size. All you have to do to be entered in to win is to be a subscriber and to comment on any of my L Word videos, including this one. And you can enter as many times as you want. Anytime that you comment, it will be counted in as an entry. And don't forget to follow me on social media for more L Word content. It's the.ash.silver. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.